Crazy. All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk may call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Present.
Councilmember Middleton,
Present.
Councilmember Kavanaugh is absent, Councilmember Dundon,
Present.
Councilmember Costi is absent, Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Present.
Council President Matavetsky.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to hand things over to our sewage treatment plant liaison, Councilman Hotchkiss, and we'll welcome down Billy Goodson for RL 24-200.
This is RL 24-200, an ordinance to amend the BJCSB 2024 budget to increase head house rebuilds and fliget pump rebuild.
Fliget. That's how you pronounce it?
What's that?
Fliget. Is it?
Flight.
Flight? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it- Wow, okay, flight. You never see, okay.
So what are we looking at here?
Okay, back in 2021, I believe it was, or 22, we switched
Is
from,
your mic on? Did
yes,
you hit
it
that?
is, sorry.
Okay, a little closer.
We switched from a general fund to the ES, the Enterprise System Fund. In the general fund, we had capital improvement lines that we ended up, when we moved to the ES system, we put them in reserves for several items that we still needed. Once we put them in reserves, we had to wait a year before we could take them out of reserves. So at this point, we're taking the flight pumps at the head house, and there's another one just for a repair refurbish at another location. Elliot can explain a little more about what they're for.
One of the pumps is our 200 horsepower main pump, pump number 4. We ran it to failure like we were asked to do, and we just want to transfer money that was already set aside to do this work into a line that we can get at. And then the other pump was damaged during the Viewport failure. And then a new pump was $66,000. We were given the money by the insurance company to pay for that pump, and then the salvage rights to the pump that was damaged. And we would like to send that out and get it repaired for about $12,500 as opposed to purchasing a new one for $66,000.
Thank you. So you're already prepared to handle this expense. You said this is money that was set aside already.
Yes.
Yes.
Was it like specifically for this pump or was it just for rainy day?
It was for that pump. I attached the legislation that was done back in 22 and 23 that pulled the money from those capital lines into the reserve. There are 2 ordinances.
Is that under the engineering specifications to run it to failure, just to see like what it, like the output or the RPMs, or just to test it out?
No, during construction, they removed our degridding equipment and they couldn't provide us any protection. So they supplied us the money for this.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have RL 24-213, handing things over to Councilman Dundon, Chair of Public Works and Parks, and welcoming down Superintendent Kruger.
So this is RL 24-213. It's a resolution to amend the agreement with Brown and Caldwell to increase the total cost. Jeff, you want to give us a little bit of background on this?
The original agreement was for work based off of an EPA report. While we were there, we began talking about some other things that are happening, and the latest changes to the lead and copper laws are going to have some severe impact in a lot of different areas. While I have them here, I'm trying to use their expertise to kind of forge a path or a road to follow for the next few years going forward. We're going to be crossing a lot of boundaries and doing things that are kind of against the grain and kind of against the way the city usually does things. And there's going to be reasons for it. So I think the added weight of an engineering firm plus the laws behind everything will help smooth the road and the transition. Looking forward, there are going to be a lot of public notification periods and things like that. And we want to approach everything that we do the best way possible. And using them while they're here already doing another project, it just kind of makes sense. They have a lot more knowledge to draw from than what we have currently available. It's not a lot of money. It's not a large change to the contract overall, and it kind of goes in line with everything we're doing and why we're doing it to begin with. It's just some extra items that are going to have additional charges because they weren't in the original scope, nor did we know we needed them at the time. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, because from my understanding, Jeff, all systems must comply with the LCRR, which is the Lead and Copper Rules Revision, which became effective December 16th, 2021. But now they want us to, to the LCRI, which is the Lead and Copper Rule Improvement, but the EPA has yet to finalize that.
Right.
So I see where you're trying to be proactive, but in theory, the EPA could honestly move the goal line on us even farther.
And they have in the past. there's a lot of different elements. I mean, there's a point of use filtration. The problem with the lead and copper is 90% of it is based on a homeowner's plumbing. And we don't have any jurisdiction to make anybody change their plumbing out. But we're going to be hammering people more and more often about what they have in their home. And it's going to continue to go on. And I'm trying to look at the smoothest and best way and what's worked in other communities to forge that path ahead and forward, you know, for years to go, because we're going to continue to work with this, and they're going to continue to make minute changes to it until absolutely no one's happy. So,
Is this more, I'm sorry,
no, go.
but is this more experimental with how it's going, or how they are setting these standards?
It's not, I don't believe it's at that stage. It's an experimental stage. It's based on actual factual. There's nothing there's nothing here that we don't already know. It's just how we're going to go about it. And if I come up to your house tomorrow and tell you you need new plumbing in your house, you know, if you have it like that and you're ready to go, that's fantastic. If you don't, what do you do? You know, and then what is our responsibility as the provider of water? I'm going to go in and I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to drop the water at your water meter, and I'm going to take a sample there, and I'm going to prove to you that the water coming in from the city is absolutely lead free. But by the time it goes through all your faucets and everything else, you're picking up a lead content of some kind, because you don't change out your faucets twice a year like no one does. And it's there's a reality boundary here that we're going to be bumping up against. And I'm looking for that kind of guidance.
Is also includes other like apartments as well.
Apartment building, everywhere, restaurants, apartment buildings. At one point, we were going to be responsible for nursery schools. That's part of the changing laws. That one had me, you know, I panicked when I first read that. It's an evolving law, and it's going to continue to change, and it's going to continue to put more burden on the provider of water. And that's what I'm trying to get ahead of.
Is there any mandates in there right now if it is a landlord situation where it's like you prove that the lead isn't coming from the city line, but then there's lead somewhere in the house, and they're like basically giving their tenant like contaminated water, and there's no like, you see where I'm going with this?
This is the grayest of all gray
Right.
areas, and that's where the problems start. I'm going to put pressure on the homeowner. The health department's going to put pressure on the homeowner, but we still don't have anything with real teeth to say you must replace all of this immediately. So then it's going back to, well, do we provide point of use filters? I call it the Brita filter law. Do we provide that to all the residents? And then does the city bear that responsibility and that cost? There's real numbers here that we just don't have all the answers to as of yet.
It sounds like this was coming from the whole issue of Flint.
Yes. Yes. This is some kickback from that.
Yeah, and knowing the EPA, they can leave it gray where a guy like Jeff is stuck really trying to interpret where's going to be the city's line and then where is it the homeowner, and if it, you know, how do you enforce the homeowner to update their plumbing, which I highly doubt the EPA is going to give any teeth to the law on that.
True. How did the lead water study go? I know my house was in the path of testing, so I
You're currently
participated.
good. You should have gotten a result.
I should have gotten a
Letter
result.
result.
Okay, I'll circle back to you
Any
offline.
day now.
But overall,
We still are, I think, 14 houses shy of completion of the 60 required. We're working on that every day. We're really bothering a lot of people, and we're going to continue to do it until we get, samples. So far, very good. We have
we're not seeing a lot of lead results coming back in the study.
nothing that would worry us.
Okay.
So doing the best we can.
So Jeff, I didn't see on here, does this need to be expedited?
No.
Okay.
Other questions? All right. I know a lot of the houses in the date range that you're looking for are in my district. If you'd like me to go and assist with knocking, I'm happy to pop around and try and drum up more participants.
I will actually send you a list of addresses for your.
Perfect. Will do. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Next, we have RL 24-212, welcoming down Chief Engineer Ron Lake and keeping things with Councilman Dundon, Chair of Public Works and Parks.
This is RL 24-212. It's a resolution to authorize a supplemental agreement number 1 for $54,405 for extra drainage and NEPA environmental work related to Henry Street. Ron, you want to give us a little background, please?
Sure. They're already working on the Henry Street design and renovations of Henry Street in the ballpark area. And some of this goes along with our Ball Avenue project where we need to eliminate some of that flooding. So while they're there and working on drainage, we thought it would be a good idea to have them do a little bit more work and tell us if they can control some of that runoff and keep it on Henry Street instead of getting into the Brandywine and relieve some of that function. The other part is after the mayor secured a federal grant, we now have to do NEPA, which is the environmental study that we didn't have to do before, but we do now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry, the scope of services. I don't have any other questions unless any other council members do.
Does the grant cover the study?
Yeah, it can.
Okay.
I think we'll need a little bit more than a grant, but yes, it would be eligible.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you. Next we have RL 24-193, sticking with Ron Lake and sticking with Councilman Dundon.
This is RL 24-193. It's a resolution authorizing an agreement with McFarland Johnson for construction and inspection for the New York State Department of Transportation Main Street Corridor Project. Ron, you want to give us a little background, please?
Yeah, this is our Main Street Corridor Safety Improvement Project. And we actually went out, it was designed by B&L, and we actually went out for solicitation for the construction inspection. And after interviewing 3 firms and going through everything, McFarland was selected to do the inspection for that corridor work.
So Ron, from looking at this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this runs all the way from Floral Ave to Front Street, and it looks like 26 locations for ADA and intersection improvements, new signage, new crosswalk striping, drainage system upgrades, and pedestrian signal improvements, correct?
Yes, so it's going to affect every intersection from Front Street to Floral Ave. So it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to, and there'll be bump outs and different things that calm traffic.
Is there any,
We will be bidding that. I think that we're receiving the bids on somewhere around the 13th of next month.
is there any consideration for bike lanes in this project?
I'm not sure, but I know it was considered, and I don't remember what was left for that.
Thanks.
Presume you're coordinating with DPW and such with the bump outs and making sure they're going to be able to navigate and that there's not just going to be an accumulation of leaves and things.
Yes, and these safety measures are all approved by DOT as well, because this is DOT funded in part.
Anyone else?
Ron, just, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I got this right. So actually, you're going to have McFarland. They're also going to do all the field inspection of the contractors, subcontractors. They're going to have daily inspection reports. They're going to follow the MERC procedures. So they're basically going to be oversight, basically to save you a lot of legwork on this, it looks like.
They're going to be doing most of the work. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and they'll be doing the filings that we have to do with DOT at every payment request.
Yeah, 1,500 hours of full-time inspection required by a resident engineer. So, okay, I don't have any further questions.
They actually had a lot more than that before I talked to them.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Next we have RL 24-209. Again with Ron Lake and again with Councilman Dundon.
This is RL 24-209. It's an ordinance to amend R 24-57 to change account line from engineering design to terminal pump station project.
When this was originally set up, it was going to be done by the board at the treatment plant. And as it progressed, we, the city, took it over as being an owner project. So I'm in charge of it, and we have bonded for it. And all we're doing is just rescinding the one that authorized the one line item and putting in the one that we have the bond ordinance for.
I'd like to make a motion to expedite this, RL.
I'll second.
Motioned by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Middleton. Any discussion? Okay, well, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi is absent, Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's
And this-
6-0.
For people who are listening and maybe didn't read the packet, it says design work is being done and contract is pending as the explanation for why the
Yes.
RLs needs to be expedited. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next, we have RL 24-215. We welcome down Comptroller Robinson and I hand things over to Councilman Kavanaugh, Chair of Finance.
Okay. So this is going to be RL 24-215, an ordinance to rescind O 23-108 for the sewage treatment plant. Would you like to explain, Chuck? Thank you.
Yes, good evening. This is just exactly what our chief engineer alluded to. The TPS project was originally going to be funded by the plant. And since the city took it over as the lead agency, we're sharing the cost with the village as owners of the plant. And so the original ordinance does not need to be, it needs to be rescinded since the plant is not going to be doing this project.
So the $4 million that was going into that line is now where?
It is split between the city and the village.
Okay. But the
It was in a
total
bond.
cost is also not $4 million anymore, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure what the exact project cost is. I'd have to get with Ron, but
I think
that was the original.
the original,
cost.
so, yeah,
Yes.
okay. All right, and then,
Implying that it's going to be more.
The total project probably will be more, probably split. It'll be split on the percentages by the city and the village. I know the bond ordinance was for 7 million, if I believe. So split with the percentages between the village and the city.
so we weren't here, this was last summer, we weren't here for this original ordinance and way of doing it. I mean, why did we switch?
That would be an engineering question. I think it was because it was better for the city and the village to get EFC financing. Because that's
probably it.
Because
Okay.
that's on the plate. We can get an EFC grant.
That's
and-
probably it.
And or short-term financing that's very cheap.
Okay. All right, we might as well expedite this since we expedited the other one. So I'd motion to expedite.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Any discussion?
No.
Okay, clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Right.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi is absent. Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 6-0.
Okay, this will be on Wednesday's business agenda. Okay. Any further discussion before we move on? Okay. Next, thank you. Next, we have
Do we
our,
want to,
Hmm?
Can we skip one? So Check doesn't have to come back down?
That's okay. I'm here. I have another one
Oh, okay. All right.
way at the end. It's okay.
Oh, all right. Sorry, trying to
Okay.
get you home.
okay, we have RL 24-199. We'll welcome down Acting Commissioner Paludi and hand things over to Councilman Dundon, Chair of Public Works and Parks.
This is RL 24-199. It's an ordinance to amend the 2024 DPW budget for overtime, general operating supplies and tires. Maggie, you want to give us a little rundown, please?
Yes, thank you. Commissioner Paludi is at a conference this week, so he asked me to step in. So this is to transfer funds to cover a couple different expenses in the public works budget. First, we're adding money to 2 of the overtime lines. Commissioner Paludi talked about this a little bit during his budget presentation, but it's a combination of things. It's the department has been working overtime for events like LUMA and Blues on the Bridge and Porchfest. So they're accruing more overtime there. And then they also have added a weekend shift downtown to respond to some complaints from businesses and residents there. And they anticipate some overtime coming up because they're hoping to have crews working Veterans Day and the day after Thanksgiving, which have been caused some issues for people in terms of remembering whether or not there's garbage or yard waste collection in the past. So those are their overtime increases. They're also looking to transfer some funds for general operating supplies. This is for upkeep at the central garage. So it's cleaning, maintenance, shop supplies. And then the last line that they're transferring into is tires. This is just due to the increased cost there. And they've had a couple of different bigger pieces of equipment that they've needed to replace high-end tires on this year.
And from looking at this, they're going to take the money from the professional services line and then the fund balance, which is A.4 and 9999.
Yep, that's correct. That professional services line, the commissioner told me is just money that they have used in past years for crack sealing, which they didn't need to use this year, and they'll look to spend it down next year, but they had some money left over there. And then yes, that fund balance line 49999.
Just to make sure I heard you correctly, they use the professional services line towards crack sealing?
They do. Yep, they
Okay.
bid that out.
That's not how was remembering that conversation. I thought it was that money was pretty locked into a contract for whoever does that crack sealing. No, we still do. Then why is it in professional services?
So they might have a couple of different professional services line, like they'll have just the street milling and paving line. This is specific to crack sealing, which we didn't do this year.
Okay, thank you. And there's 2 different overtime lines. Is that just 2 different departments that?
Yes, one is, I think, the street maintenance budget and one is the sanitation budget. That is due less to like the type of work that's being done on overtime and more on who's taking the overtime. So if a street maintainer opts in for an overtime job, they get paid out of that street maintenance budget.
Thank you.
So, sorry, I just want, so for, as we call it, Black Friday and Veterans Day, will there just be regular trash pickup or is that only for emergency cleanup?
No, that's what they're hoping for, to have a full crew out, to not, they are city holidays now, but to fill an overtime shift basically. So Veterans Day is a Monday, I think, so that they'd collect yard waste like normal that day. And then Friday, they wouldn't have to adjust to a holiday schedule that week, but that's sort of contingent on people signing up to take those overtime shifts and that they're able to fill it. But Josh is anticipating that.
So there'll be like some sort of announcement or
Yes.
advertising to people one way or another, so they know whether or not to
Yeah,
put
there
stuff out.
are a couple holidays every year that seem to throw people off. Veterans Day is one of them. When we added Juneteenth to the calendar, there's just some that people need additional reminders for, or that DPW will try to cover as is. And I'm thinking now about the Black Friday one too, because they'll obviously have Thanksgiving as a holiday, so I don't know how that week would shift, but they would look to have a crew sign up for Friday. So depending how overtime signups go up, we would push word out to let folks know what that will look like.
Thank you. Else? Councilman Kavanaugh.
So check the A 49999 line is like, there's no money in it for next year. Where does the money come from? It's in there that we're
No.
pulling from.
Basically, that was an account that was created to use fund balance. So basically what you're doing is you're increasing a revenue, but you're not going to get revenue. So basically you're just adding an expense into the budget, which is basically taking fund balance. But at the end of the year, if you don't spend that money, it goes right back into fund balance.
Okay.
But at this point in time,
Yes.
I cannot anticipate which lines are going to have
Have
extra
money in it.
money in at the end of the
So
year.
this is just a
small,
holding, this is just kind of a holding
right. This is a small amount. What is it,
Action.
40,000?
40,000, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
we have
40,900.
other lines that are way over budget right now that I have to wait about another 3 or 4 weeks and figure out where I can find money for those.
Okay. But he needs this money moved. He wants this moved now. Or he needs this
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. So
Yes.
Yes, I think he put this RL down early, thinking it'd be on a prior work session, but then the budget hearing schedule
Okay.
kind of bumped things. So he wasn't expecting to be away at that conference this week.
no problem.
And well,
Okay.
yeah, and Veterans Day is November, so
Yes.
it's like right around the corner. Giving, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming quick. All right, well, thank you so much. Next we have RL 24-202 with Comptroller Robinson, handing things to Councilman Kavanaugh, Fair Finance.
Okay, 24-202 is an ordinance to amend the 2024 capital budget to close old capital projects and fund the capital DPW equipment line. All right, you're on again.
Okay, we during the budget process, the DPW commissioner had asked for some equipment that we didn't give him in the budget. So we told him we'd find some money for him, and I did. These lines that are transferring from the decreases, none of these lines have been used. The first two haven't been used since about 2020, 2021, and the last 4, those were carryovers from when Munis started back in 2010. So they've been sitting in the budget ever since. So this money I'm moving over so he can buy his hot box trailer at the beginning of the year.
Does this wipe those lines out or is there still?
No, this completely wipes those lines out. Those are projects that have
Right.
never been done in the past 14 years.
And this is a hot box. And I remember I asked what that is and somebody explained it and I've forgotten again.
I could give you a general overview. I think it's for when they heat up the what is it? The
The
asphalt.
patch material. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm not
I
Any further questions? Okay. Next, we RL 24.
Actually, I
Oh,
got one. Is there,
go for it.
I think it like, how often do we do like an audit to find like what are these like artifact lines that were from when Municity just started? Like-
From when Munis started,
Or, yeah,
I just did it this year. We've occasionally done those every other year or so. It's just a matter of timing and staff.
okay.
The finance department's been pretty short-staffed over the years, and it takes a lot of time to do that, and then figure out where the money can go. Because we have to find out where the money came from originally and move it to the right spot. These were all interfund transfers from the general fund, so they're fine.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next we have RL 24-185. And I'll hand things over to Councilman Hotchkiss, Chair of Planning, and we welcome down Dr. Burling, Director.
This is RL 24-185, an ordinance to amend the O 24-24 to correct amount and budget line for housing and community development specialist position. Seems pretty straightforward, but do you want to just give us an overview?
Sure. This was a position that we just started April this year, and the funding lines and amount I was given was not quite correct. So we're just correcting that with this. And it actually reduces the amount obligated quite a bit. So it's a decrease.
This was the position that they highly encouraged.
Yep. Yeah, HUD was very happy with it.
You said it's filled already?
Yep, she started in April. It's the Housing and Community Development Specialist position. We actually promoted from within, so.
Thank you.
You said you expected it to be filled
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, it was.
I don't have anything.
This is the one that's writing the grants or trying to come up with the grants.
She's managing the grants,
Yeah,
yeah,
manage.
more efficiently. And that leaves the rest of us more time maybe to pull some more together and write some more, but she gives a lot of input for that. So, yeah. You said it's increased. Well, the original amount that, I was told to put in.
It's
total-
almost $80,000.
Yeah. Yeah, and the salary is at 48,000.
Big difference.
Yeah,
it's a
Yeah.
big difference.
So this will adjust it to, I believe, 42,000, which, takes into account that 48,000 wasn't paid January, February, March.
the whole year.
It started in April, right? So,
Is the person still interested in the position
she's in it.
with the salary
Oh, yeah.
decreasing?
That was never her stated salary. It was just an error that actually Chuck Robinson identified. And asked that we please correct it. So, oh, yeah. Don't tell her. Yeah. No, it was always 48,000. So. Okay.
So this gives you extra headroom in the admin budget then again, or no?
Yes, perhaps. Is Chuck still here? I know you should have left on your pad. So. It's this one, that's the correction, and that's what it was. So I think it's the revenue.
So what was the question again? I'm sorry.
So this was accounted for in the admin budget for HUD, right?
Well, yeah, the
That we're
original.
allowed to spend a certain amount of a grant toward admin. So now we have headroom in that allotment, yes?
Right. Well, what's happening is the HUD is still funding that position. So what happens is the general fund pays for their salary and benefits. And then Steve Carson submits those to HUD and we draw down the money and we get the revenue in the general fund.
I'm talking, maybe this is more of a Steve question, but we have a percentage of our HUD money we're allowed to spend toward admin expenses.
Right.
Correct.
Which is now going to be whatever,
It was originally the,
$36,000 less that we can reallocate. I'm asking if we allocate that HUD space to anybody else or anybody else's.
Yeah, I mean, according to this, yes, it looks like you should have about,
30.
$36,000
So,
worth of.
and is there somebody else that it's applicable to, Dr. Burling? Do you know that? Again, maybe this is a Steve question.
Hmm.
Anyone that works in one of the HUD approved categories. So we have a whole list. So
Okay.
anyone in City Hall, basically.
Anyone, my department, when we work on HUD administrative stuff, we code our timesheets accordingly.
Right. Anyway, so
Yeah.
somebody will make sure this gets eaten back up, so to speak.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
That lines?
All right. Next, we have RL 24-210, handing things back to Councilman Hotchkiss, Chair of Planning, and keeping Dr. Burling up here.
Yep, this is RL 24-210, an ordinance to amend the PHCD budget to adjust for responsibility adjustments. Again, pretty straightforward, but
We currently have an opening in our office for a program assistant, and until that position is filled, we have a staff member who's taking on additional duties. So this is just adding the temporary, I guess, the responsibility adjustment to cover that extra amount of time and work that she's doing.
have you ever had any difficulty with payroll adding the responsibility adjustments into people's checks?
I don't believe so. No, we've never actually had one in my office. We've done out of title pay, and as long as it's coded correctly, it goes in. But we have to have it approved and then a line is set and they tell us how to do it. So, sorry. I mean, it's fair. It has, other departments have done this. It's an established procedure. So shouldn't be an issue.
Okay,
So,
I'll motion to expedite.
second.
Motioned by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Hotchkiss. Any discussion on expedition? Says here in the packet, start date for adjustment is October 21st, 2024. All right. Clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter. Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi is absent. Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 6-0.
All right, so this will be on Wednesday's
thank you.
business meeting.
We will be posting that position if you know anyone interested.
I just had a question really quick. I was just
Yep.
thinking about something that we already voted, but I do notice that a lot, just not with your department, but just within City Hall. We are having trouble finding people for positions. So then it's kind of put on other people to do it.
Yeah,
So I think we got to figure out something because,
salaries.
yeah, that definitely the
We have to
retention,
increase salaries, yeah.
that way we can keep good people. So
Yeah.
thinking about that.
So what's the title you'll be posting for?
It's
Program.
called as a program assistant.
Program assistant.
And like the front desk help. Plus they answer all the questions initially. Do a lot of the financial management, payroll, timesheets, purchasing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next we have RL 24-216. We welcome down Director Close and I hand things over to Councilman Kavanaugh, Chair of Finance.
Okay, this is RL 24-216, a resolution authorizing acceptance of an in-kind donation from Greenlight Networks. Sounds pretty simple. And
I hope so. So Greenlight would like to sponsor our tree lighting this year. So the value of the lights is on there. It's a little over $1,000. We don't anticipate that the media spend will be anywhere close to that $4,000, but I was supposed to have a meeting today that got pushed till tomorrow, so I don't have that exact number, which is why we've asked for a not to exceed, but I'm happy to provide the exact value once I have that information. But it's just the lights on the tree and some pre-event media promotions that they would like to retool to focus on supporting this particular event.
Oh, so they haven't committed to a specific amount.
I think they on their end have committed to a specific amount. I just have not had the meeting to confirm what that spend is. They have an ongoing media relationship and they are just retooling existing ads that they already paid for to be these ads instead of their traditional green light ads.
I see. Okay. All right. I mean, if they want to spring for some extra wreaths and stuff, you know, we could really jazz up the tree. I know.
We did, the BLDC just authorized the purchase of some half snowflake lights that will go on Court Street. We had some business advocacy towards that. So certainly trying to improve the holiday spirit in downtown.
Sounds good.
Do they do this every year?
Green light or the tree lighting?
The green
No,
light.
this is our first year having a sponsor for the tree lighting. So it's really exciting. It's an event that we started in 2022 and we've really seen it grow. So it's nice to have some additional support for it.
All right. All motion to expedite.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Any discussion on the expedition? Okay, the packet here says expedition would allow Greenlight Network to process payment for the lights. So installation can be scheduled and proceed with booking advertising spots and ordering signage with enough lead time to be completed before the event.
And what's the date of the event?
It is Small Business Saturday. I believe this year it is November 29th. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, thank you.
All right. For council to be invited.
Yes.
It is an open invite. I know we had
That
a couple
is-
council members there last year, which was really
Fabulous.
nice.
Thank you.
Clerk can call the roll on the expedition.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi is absent. Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Fine. Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank
Great.
you. That's
Well,
6-0.
When is the meeting?
So,
Anything
I'm
else?
just, did, your office seek out a sponsor or did they were looking to sponsor something or?
Yeah, so we were just having general business conversations and they mentioned that they wanted to get more involved in the city of Binghamton. So we were talking about different opportunities that were coming up and, lights on the tree got us talking about green light. So that was really where the impetus came from.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have RL 24-205, and we welcome down Treasurer Harris. And hand things over to Councilman Kavanaugh, Chair of Finance.
All right, RL 24-205, an ordinance to change the title of checks returned / insufficient funds. We had this discussion during budget hearings. We were just trying to update language so that we can apply fees to actual things that are appropriate and exist in the world today, I think, yes.
That is correct. So we're moving up in, I'll say up to the 21st century in terminology. So we had checks return insufficient funds. That doesn't capture if we have a chargeback on credit card, we have e-check. So just straightforward, we want to amend the charter and the fee schedule to read return items / payments. And that'll allow us to capture additional revenue.
All right. Again, we thought we were going to try and do this during budgeting but we need a charter change, so thank you. I think that's it. Are we trying to expedite this? No. Okay. Sorry to make you stay.
But I have another one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
we're good.
RL.
Oh, yeah, right, that's right. All right, let's.
Yes.
All right.
Great. Okay, next we have RL 24-203. Same speaker, same council member.
Yep. Okay. So this is RL 24-203, an ordinance to provide a one-time parking ticket amnesty for 2024. I didn't know we did these. So, but we do apparently. So would you like to
Yes.
explain the kind of the history and the process?
Sure, absolutely. So periodically, every 4 or 5 years, the city has conducted this parking ticket amnesty. The program would run from November 15th through December 31st. During that time, parking tickets that had been issued between November 1st of 2020 through September 30th of 24 can be paid at the original fine amount. As a satisfaction of the violation. As I said, it's been conducted by us 4 to 5 years. The last time it was done was in 2020. The program is conducted by FBS, who does all the accounting work for that, and that cost is included under their contract. So it's pretty straightforward. In the packet is the letter of commitment from FBS and what they'll be doing. A couple of things I'll highlight is they would be in charge of the mailing. There would be a mailing notice that would go out October 30th. There would be a second follow-up on that to encourage people to participate. And then both mailings would have a QR code for easy access to online payment. So people can pay at the treasurer's office. They can pay online as well. And then the estimated portfolio for the amnesty program, we have a gross portfolio of about $250,435. Minus fee amnesty payment would be $195,405. So the fines on that $250,000 gross is about $55,000. The response rate is expected to be about 15%. So from a revenue perspective, the city could see upwards of $29,310.
So, let's see. So this is the same company that does the collections already, so they
Correct.
just take their normal cut, whatever that is, or however it's
correct.
structured.
Yes.
Okay. And it looks like we have 3,400 tickets from about 1,700 plates, so it's an average of 2 tickets per plate. But is there do we have some notorious scofflaws out there that we know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
We don't have one car that's got 100 tickets. or
Yeah,
something
no,
like that.
no, I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
So again, is this something we need to expedite if they're trying to send stuff out by October 30th?
I would say yes.
Okay, so I have a motion to expedite this.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilwoman Middleton. Any discussion on the expedition? Okay. Clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi is absent. Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 6-0.
All right, so this will be on Wednesday's business meating.
Excellent. Thank you.
All
Quick
right.
question.
Yes.
What happens to the other 85%? Are they just the other 85% of the folks that,
They don't
You're-
participate.
yeah,
After the 1st of December, it goes back to regular fines.
okay.
If they don't participate, they'll end up paying whatever the fine would have been.
And does that get enforced? Do you, like, what's the actual penalty if they just continue to linger for
So
indefinitely?
So if they participate in amnesty, they have no penalty. So it's only the fine. If they don't participate after 31st of December, then it goes back to the penalty. So it's the fine plus penalty.
Are,
See-
are most of the people that haven't paid, like, people that were in from out of town? Or, do you have a sense of like who?
I don't,
who
I
these
don't,
people are? I mean, I presume people that are local are more concerned about getting their car towed or booted or what, as opposed to someone who's in town, gets a ticket and is just like, I'm never coming back here
yeah,
anyway.
FBS, who's participated in this quite a bit, didn't really provide any feedback that way. It seemed like it was pretty much across the board.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I do remember doing this a little bit because I was acting treasurer about 5 years ago for about 4 months. When our treasurer left. So I didn't actually do the program, but it was being done, I believe, pretty much at the same time or right before I started. And our receivables back then were, I think you just quoted our receivables are at 250,000.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
then they were about 750,000. So this program really works. It doesn't really bring in a lot of money, but it does put the onus on a lot of people that they know their friends have tickets, they know their buddies, and a lot of them were like college students. And I'm not picking on college students. It's just that I just recall a lot of the college students coming in and paying at that time. So, but it works. It gets the word out.
Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
all right. Next we have RL 24-192, considered in finance, and we keep Comptroller Robinson.
Because I haven't had enough talking over the last couple of weeks. Okay. RL 24-192, an ordinance to amend the 2024 general fund budget for electricity costs.
Right, this, was I don't know if you recall during the budget meetings, this was 22 Charles Street. This is where we were paying the electricity out of. And now that the electricity is being paid by BLDC, I am absconding with that money and I'm using it in some lines that need the electricity in. It does not fill the bucket for our out of over budget electricity lines, but it'll help some of the smaller funds that just need a little bit for some electricity costs for the end of the year.
How is the cutoff date determined
The cutoff date for
when we're paying versus when BLDC is paying? I mean, it's all.
there was an agreement with BLDC of when they took over the property, when the
Okay.
deed, when I guess when they did a deed change or something. I'd have to go back to the BLDC records.
Okay, but it matches up.
I'm sorry.
It does match up, whatever it is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I make sure I arrange that with Sarah.
So which, putting you on the spot, which lines are these going, which departments are these going into?
Well, it's coming out of the,
I know where it's coming
Oh,
from. It's
okay.
going to the 1640, 1210 and 1620.
yeah,
or-
1210 is City Hall, I believe. 1620 is Central Garage. And 1640 is Central Services. Don't quote me on those.
Well, that's
don't
pretty
have a-
good, though.
I don't
know
have
that's
a,
good.
I
All right,
don't have a budget in front of
that's
me.
all right. That's pretty impressive. Even if it's 2 out of 3, it's pretty impressive.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I don't know. Motion to expedite. Let's get many
I'll
of these
second.
taken care of.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Middleton. Any discussion on expediting? So the idea for the motion is just to get some bills paid? Or,
It's one easy thing off the table.
all right, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Nay.
Councilmember Costi is absent, Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Nay.
Council President Matavetsky.
I'll go nay.
Okay.
Well, we won't be expediting. It'll be on the regular schedule. Okay. Next, we have RL 24-206, considered in finance. And we welcome down Deputy Mayor Hyman and take it away, Councilman Kavanaugh.
Okay. This is RL 24-206, an ordinance to adopt the 2025 tax budget. We can discuss it, but we have a snafu with it's relatively small, but we will not be able to vote on the budget resolution on Wednesday. We're going to need to fix one page. No, it's actually probably going to be 3 pages. Just because of how funds were moved around. So we're going to need the steps that are going to have to happen is we're going to have the hearing and open the hearing that we've already scheduled for the budget on Wednesday during our general business meeting. We're going to have another committee of the whole meeting, probably just tacked on to the end of the regular business meeting on Wednesday to fix these small issues. Then we will leave the public hearing open and schedule a special business meeting for the 29th, it looks like, so that the minutes can be properly typed and put out and reviewed by whoever wants to review them. And then we will vote on the budget at that special business meeting, hopefully on the 29th. So that's how the process is going to need to work. So we don't want this expedited. We're going to want this scheduled for a special business meeting on the 29th. Deputy Mayor,
I think that covers it. That all sounds good.
Yeah, without going into a lot of detail, I think he's pretty close. Yeah.
And what's the, can we review again real quick? If it's not adopted by the 30th,
It just gets sent up as it was sent to us.
right? So that timeline makes me a little, you know,
Yep. There is a question of I have a question in with Corporation Counsel's office on the necessary timing for the special business meeting. We've been operating under the trying to give 5 days notice of the budget hearing, of the budget adoption here, meeting after minutes have been done from the budget hearings. I am not certain that's a legal requirement. Corporation Counsel is looking into that. They feel it is. And it's probably best practice to give as much time as we can for review of all the minutes by whoever in the public wants to review them. But I am well aware that that puts us very close to the deadline. So if we want to talk more after the meeting about compressing that schedule, we can do that. And again, I have a question into Corporation Counsel about, kind of chapter and verse on the timeline, on the necessary notice requirements.
all right, we'll talk after. Thanks.
Okay. But tentatively, the best practice sort of step forward is open the public hearing on Wednesday, have a budget hearing tacked onto the meeting on Wednesday, minute it all by the next day, and then get a special business meeting scheduled and with the budget. Okay.
Except the special business meeting, people thinking 6 PM. Our norm of the,
Yeah.
so we don't have actual scheduling conflicts.
I think that would, yeah.
Tuesday, the 29th.
Yep.
Okay. Putting a save the date. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
We have RL 24-211 considered in planning. And I guess you're filling in? Yeah.
So this is RL 24-210, an ordinance to amend R 24-18 so that any reference to a transfer of ownership in fee simple is amended to ground lease as required by HUD. Take it away, Robert.
So if you'll recall, back in the spring, we passed an ordinance approving both a transfer as well as a pilot agreement for Saratoga Heights. With basically approving BHA transferring the property, conveying it to the company that's coming in to redo it. HUD
Turns out we can't sell it.
What?
Turns out we can't actually sell it.
Yeah, so well, we don't sell it. It's whether or not what BHA can do and what HUD wants essentially. So HUD wants it to be a ground lease so that BHA doesn't actually transfer title of the property. And so basically all we're doing is changing one reference in the resolution from fee simple to a ground lease. Nothing else is changing, like none of the ownership structure, none of the other pieces are changing. And HUD wants this change because it gives the housing authority more control over the project because they're not giving up title to it. There's no deed transferring, it's just by a lease.
Is this like a 99-year lease or something, or?
I don't know what the exact terms of it are. I don't think it's 99 years, but same idea where it's a long-term lease of the property.
I mean, it is a 40-year pilot agreement.
Yeah.
Any additional questions?
I mean, I guess we're relying on the attorneys that this is the. I mean, well, I guess it's basically handed down from HUD that this is the way, the proper way now, and.
Yeah, again, like nothing's changing with any of this. It's just how the property is going to be conveyed. So rather than it being, again, like transferring it by a deed, they're just conveying it by a lease.
Well, there's no, it'd be interesting to know what, if there's no time frame on it. Is it just like indefinite? Or is it time bound?
It'll be time bound, but that's gonna be between BHA and Saratoga.
Okay.
Like I don't know we're not gonna review that lease or anything. That's between BHA and them to handle, and HUD probably has, I'm assuming HUD has its own requirements in terms of what the term has to be and everything in there. Yes.
No, I'm, so the pilot is on our local property taxes.
Yes.
But if the BHA, a nonprofit public entity, is retaining title, what are we taxing in the first place?
So
This is deep in the weeds. I think I'm just
it
like,
is a little deep in the weeds, and I mean, part of it is that even if you have a not-for-profit that owns a property in the city, if they rent it to a private entity, like let's say you have a not-for-profit that owns a commercial building in the city, and they use
That becomes
50% of
subject to-
it, and 50% of it is, rented out to a for-profit. 50% of that property is subject to real property tax.
okay,
So that's
how
a
it
simple
works.
version of how that all works.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Next we have RL 24-217.
I would ask that that be expedited.
Oh,
please.
yes, sorry.
Oh.
Motion to expedite.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Hotchkiss. Any discussion on expedition? I believe it said something about it just being the holdup on moving forward.
Yeah.
It says, so that closing between BHA and HDFC can proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Nay.
Councilmember Costi is absent, Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 5-1.
All right, so that will be on Wednesday's business agenda. All right. Next, we have RL 24-217, considered in planning.
Councilmember Costi is not present.
Yes, is there anyone else that's planning to present on his behalf?
No, only
Okay.
he knows what legislation he was gonna present.
Okay, all right, so is there, I guess, a motion to hold it, well, not hold it, just, we'll see it next time. Perfect. All right, with that, any motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Middleton, second